No surprise in the game they were trailing. Not a ton going for the Denver backfield. Javonte Williams was back. He got 10 carries for 52 yards. Jaleel McLaughlin remains a thing with that 41% snap rate. He gets 7 carries and also adds in 2 catches. But it just kind of goes back to the point, Matthew. The Broncos are going to be trailing in a lot of games, and it could impact Javonte's volume. McLaughlin, as a pass catcher, maybe not so much, but still only 2 catches last night.
He led the team in snaps, 41% snap rate, third straight game with at least 9 touches for Jaleel McLaughlin, the rookie. But yeah, to me, the positive takeaway here is Javonte Williams looked good. He looked healthy. Like, this is somebody that obviously came off of a major injury. Then we didn't know how bad that was going to be. He missed the game last week, but now on a short week, he's back. 10 for 52. He gets the 2-point conversion, which you like as well. Look, he hasn't been what you drafted him to be. Single-digit fantasy points in every game this season, including last night as well. And if there's one red flag, so I thought the positives is that he came back, he looked healthy, he looked like Javonte Williams. The negatives is that he had 0 targets. Like, the emergence of Jaleel McLaughlin makes you think that, and they already have P. Ryan, who's going to play enough to just be annoying to anyone that has either one of those guys. That the concern there is just like, well, if Javonte Williams is splitting the touches and not getting any passing down work, then he becomes really kind of a touchdown-dependent flex, which is the same what McLaughlin is. I don't know that there's anyone on the Broncos offense that you feel good about starting moving forward. Like Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton, we'll talk about them in a second, but like if it's a 3-headed committee on kind of a low-volume offense, I guess Russell Wilson in a 12 or 14-team league is like a passable starting quarterback. You don't feel great about that. Was his worst game of the year last night, fantasy-wise. But this doesn't feel like an offense that you can trust. Marvin Mims played 12 snaps last. I mean, like,
no. It's baffling. And I think the concern would be is that I didn't know that Denver had that type of low floor on offense in their passing game, because Wilson has been good statistically to this point. He's been able to fill it up in garbage time as well. And then last night the Chiefs have a good defense. This might be the best defense of the Mahomes era, but this isn't the Browns or the 49ers, and they couldn't do anything against them.
Connor, it's interesting. I was so on my way in today, I was listening to my buddy Dwayne McFarland over at Fantasy Life, and he was saying his take was, he thinks Sean Payton is basically making Russell Wilson try to be Drew Brees. That's the offense that they're running there, and he's like, he ain't Drew Brees. And that's no disrespect to Russell Wilson, but like the style of game Russell Wilson is a deep ball thrower. He's not a short timing guy.
No,
I mean, like a short pass timing guy.
No, he's going to hold the ball a lot longer, which probably drives Sean Payton nuts. But you knew what you're getting with Russell Wilson. And obviously, Sean Payton wasn't there for that acquisition, but Russ is going to hold the ball. I think the biggest problem with Russ right now is he still thinks he's the athlete he was 5 years ago, and that's how they lost the end of the game to the Jets. He saw it a couple of times last night. He thinks he can run away from situations that he no longer can run away from, and maybe that's starting to hurt the deep passing game when he starts to scramble as well. That's a bad match, though. Him and Sean Payton is a bad match. I don't even think it's going to be a thing next season. I think that's how bad it is.
Maybe Nathaniel Hackett isn't so bad after all.
Yeah.
Broncos are 1-5.
Or, by the way, maybe Sean Payton is going, listen, we can get out of Russell's contract after this year, and if I keep doing this, I got a shot at Caleb Williams next year. And so maybe Sean Payton's playing chess while we're all playing checkers. Yep. I'm just saying, there's a lot going on there, right? I mean, they're in the mix now for Caleb Williams.
When he was out of coaching, he called Caleb Williams generational on television. And it was like, watch out for teams that might tank for a guy like this. It's very ironic.
That's going to be my team.
It's very ironic. So, all right, let's close out with the Denver.
You hear that, Commanders? That's a challenge. Yes. We can do it.
Yeah. Let's get to the Denver pass catchers real quick. Courtland Sutton's night saved by the touchdown catch.
Yeah. Unbelievable catch, by the way.
Amazing.
Unbelievable. By the way, Courtland Sutton drinks free because, I don't know how he came down with it and kept control all the way to the ground. So he bailed out fantasy managers and gave the Broncos a sign of life. Look at this catch for those of you watching on Peacock. Just an unbelievable one-handed catch. He's holding the defense, like he's holding the guy off with his left arm and brings it in with the elbow of his right, gets the knee down, maintains possession. This is just an unbelievable catch. And I feel like if this guy was a bigger star, more people would be making noise about this catch. Like, that's one of the best catches I've ever seen.
I hope he gets traded at the deadline because I think Courtland Sutton can be a much better player than what we've seen from him recently in Denver.
Think about the attention that Garrett Wilson's catch against the Bills got compared to that. Garrett Wilson basically committed pass interference to shove the guy, shove Trey White away, I think. Courtland Sutton, that was a magnificent catch. And yeah, hopefully he finds a better landing spot.
So anyway, he drinks free. But by the way, with that touchdown, he still had under 15 fantasy points, right? The positives are he's getting the looks in the end zone. He's a big-bodied guy. He is sort of the DK Metcalf, if you will, for Russell Wilson. Fourth receiving touchdown in 6 games so far this year. He had the second highest target share in a game this year. That's a positive, but again, still 6 or fewer targets in 4 out of 6 games. Under 50 receiving yards in 4 out of 6 games. Needed the touchdown to bail him out. Just 4 for 46 in this game. The whole passing offense looks brutal, but you'd rather these days be Courtland Sutton than Jerry Jeudy, who had a tough day at the office. And it started with Steve Smith calling him out, Connor.
Yeah, Steve Smith's exact quote was, "Don't trade for Jerry Jeudy because he is mentally unable to handle constructive criticism, who watch specifically if you can be a wide receiver. He's a tier 3, and Jeudy got asked about this after the game, so listen in.
Jerry, a little bit of drama before the game with Steve Smith Sr. I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that right now.
Man, that was a tough loss, man. I feel like at the end of the game, I feel like we could have got there, but, you know, they had a good drive at the end.
Jerry, Steve Smith said he had some kind of conversation with you before the game. Did that not go well, or based on what he said on air on NFL Network?
I don't remember that. You know, but like I said, you know, it was a close game. We just got to finish.
Jeudy obviously not interested in.
He said he didn't remember it, although there's video of him like jumping around and seemingly, yelling or direct. I don't know what's going on there. It's weird.
I don't think anyone does right now. It's a very bizarre situation. Feels a little personal right now.
It definitely feels a little bit personal. And I'm just curious. What I'm curious about is, like, look, Steve Smith Sr. has earned the right to criticize a wide receiver in the NFL. He's a borderline Hall of Famer. He was elite when he played in the league. And so I'm just trying to think of, like, who we could legitimately criticize. Like, who's is there a long snapper, like a backup long snapper that we could take on?
Nope.
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Tier 3 is such a piercing criticism.
Yeah. Like, I'd love to know who else is in tier 3.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's a tough situation. It's certainly, look, I'm not the evaluator of talent that Steve Smith is. I'm not going to sit here and try to disagree with Steve Smith about playing wide receiver in the NFL, right? I mean, obviously, he's one of the all-time greats. Having said that, I do feel like Jerry Jeudy, he struggled with some injuries, which I don't know necessarily his fault. He's also had really poor quarterback play. Yep. Like, this is the first time that he's had a quarterback where you feel like, okay. And even then, Russell hasn't been Russell since he's gotten to Denver either. So I don't know how much of this is on, I think there's a lot of extenuating circumstances. Either way, it's a bad scene in Denver, and hopefully it gets better, but I don't know if it gets better anytime soon. The one thing I will say is that Jeudy and Sutton have been rumored to be on the trade block as well. And again, obviously with the season not going the way Denver wants. So I'm not, as frustrating as it is with Marvin Mims, I'm not dropping him just yet. I want to see what happens at the trade deadline. He's too talented, has too much upside, and I feel like they've got to get him on the field, especially if they're playing for next year. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and Rotoworld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.